What if the future of a continent was decided not by power, but by the courage of one man who dared to speak for the forgotten? Tonight, you will witness a summit unlike any other, where a soldier, not a politician, shakes the world's core. It was a blistering afternoon in Geneva. Inside a crystal-lit hall, beneath golden chandeliers, the world's most powerful leaders sat poised, cameras rolling, and millions watching live around the globe. The summit was meant to be about global stability and leadership in Africa, yet something felt deeply unsettled. The host cleared his throat, commanding attention. Please welcome former U.S. President Donald Trump and Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Polite applause filled the room, tight and cautious. Traoré entered quietly, dressed in his military uniform, calm, focused. Trump followed, loud and boisterous in a sharp suit, waving for the cameras. Before anyone could blink, Trump stepped forward and barked, "You know what's wrong with Africa?" He turned to Traoré, eyes sharp. "Too many soldiers acting like presidents. You, sir, what makes you think you belong at this table?" The room fell into a suffocating silence. Cameras zoomed in on Traoré's steady gaze. Far away in a small village, a child whispered to her mother over a crackling radio, "Why is he yelling at our president?" A man in New York dropped his coffee. The tension was palpable. Everyone expected Traoré to retaliate with anger, but he didn't. Instead, his voice came low and steady. "Is that your question?" There was no anger, just weight. An invisible force drawing everyone in. Trump laughed, breaking the silence. "No, Captain. My question is why the world should listen to you, a man who took power in a coup." Whispers swept through the room like wildfire. The moderators remained silent. The air was thick with expectation. Traoré placed his hands firmly on the table and scanned the sea of faces. Leaders, journalists, skeptics, activists, all waiting. Then he spoke, and his words cut through the tension like a blade. "Let me tell you a story. Not about me, but about a mother named Awa from Dori in northern Burkina Faso. Her husband was killed by terrorists. Her son was kidnapped. She had nothing, not even shoes. Yet she walked miles to find help." The room grew still. She found soldiers, young men with worn-out rifles, some barely wearing boots. But they stood with her. They protected her. They brought her son back. Traoré paused, voice steady but soft. "I speak for people like Awa, forgotten, silenced." Even Trump's smile faltered. This wasn't politics anymore. It was raw humanity. In the back row, a female delegate wiped tears quietly. Viewers from Ghana to Chicago felt their hearts tighten. Traoré continued, "America taught the world many things. Freedom, dreams, ambition. But some of us were only given silence. So we built our own voice. It may not be polished, but it is honest." Trump leaned back, his face unreadable. "You ask why I'm here? Because silence is not leadership. Speaking for those who have no voice, that is leadership." Then, something no one expected. From the audience, a slow clap started. Another joined, and another. Soon, a wave of applause shook the hall, slow, heavy, and deeply emotional. The moderator tried to regain control, but failed. Traoré looked to Trump and said firmly, "I don't need your applause, but I will not be shamed for choosing to protect my people." Trump opened his mouth but closed it again. Somewhere in Burkina Faso, Awa whispered into the night, "May God protect him." Cameras panned the crowd. Some eyes glistened with tears. Others stared in stunned silence. Near the exit, a woman in a red scarf held a small photograph. She was not part of any delegation. A security guard noticed her trembling hands, but let her pass. Inside, Trump regained his voice, attempting to wrest control. "Well, you sure know how to give a speech. But speeches don't feed people. Words don't build nations." Before Traoré could respond, the woman stepped forward slowly. She wasn't supposed to be there, but no one stopped her. She held up the photo. "This is my son," she said, voice cracking. "His name was Madu. He was 14. He died protecting our village, before Traoré's soldiers came. The photo showed a boy with a bright smile and worn sandals. If they had come one day earlier, my boy would still be alive. But you came, you tried, and I forgive you. The room froze. No one clapped. No one spoke. Even Trump shifted uncomfortably. Traoré stepped forward, placing his hand gently over hers. I failed Madhu, he said quietly, and I carry him with me every day. The woman sobbed softly. But you were the only one who came. Not the UN, not Europe, not even our past leaders. Only your soldiers came, with nothing but courage. She stepped back. Thank you, Captain. My son's death has a witness now. Slowly, the crowd rose, not in applause, but in aching respect. A South African delegate whispered, "He listens, even when the world won't." Traoré didn't use this moment to boast. He just looked at Trump, and for the first time, Trump looked human. No anger, only uncertainty. This wasn't politics anymore. It was the raw pain of being unseen and the courage to show up anyway. The world was beginning to understand. The cameras cut to a new scene, raw footage of a young Burkinabe soldier, barely 18, standing guard in a dusty village. His boots were worn, his eyes scanning the horizon. Traoré nodded toward the screen. This boy was assigned to protect Awa's village, he said softly. Just a farmer's son. No fancy training. When terrorists came, he stayed. Even when others ran. The clip ended. The room was silent again. His name is Sita, Traoré added. He died saving 3 children. He wore his father's shoes to the battlefield. Sobs whispered across the audience. A European journalist whispered, "Why haven't we heard these stories before?" Trump tried to pivot. "You talk about emotion, but what about strategy? What's your plan?" Traoré's reply was simple but piercing. Strategy means nothing if the world doesn't care who dies. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. This was no longer a battle for power. It was a battle for humanity. The room was thick with realization. Traoré's voice softened to a whisper. In Burkina Faso, mothers lose sons every day. Children lose fathers. But we don't give up. We fight, not for glory, but for hope. A woman dabbed tears quietly. The summit had transformed. Outside, a radio station in Ouagadougou buzzed. "We witnessed something rare," the reporter whispered. "A leader who speaks not just to governments, but to hearts." Back inside, Traoré's words grew stronger. "When I became captain, I promised my people one thing, that their pain would be heard beyond our borders, that their lives matter." He looked directly at Trump. "You challenge me because I am a soldier leading a nation, but every soldier behind me is a father, a brother, a son. We don't seek power, we seek peace." The crowd was silent, but something had shifted. A young delegate from Ghana stood. "Captain Traoré, your words remind us what true leadership is. May your strength inspire us." Applause swelled. Trump's frustration grew, but Traoré raised his hand. "Please, allow me to finish." The cameras captured every word. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to ask for help. Not charity, but partnership, so my people can live free from fear." He looked out to the crowd and back at Trump. "If leadership means lifting others, then I stand ready, not as a soldier commanding, but as a servant listening." Awe filled the room. Trump's usual bravado faltered. The applause that followed wasn't for him, it was for Traoré. The world was watching. Something was changing. Suddenly, an aide handed Traoré a folded letter. He opened it quietly. It was from his mother, written just days before the summit. She wrote of empty village fields, children too scared to play, neighbors lost to violence. But her last words held deep hope. "My son, no matter the storm, your courage is our light. You carry the dreams of 1,000 silent voices. We pray for you." Traoré held the letter close. The room fell stiller than ever, because now the world didn't see a soldier or a politician. They saw a son, a brother, a human carrying the weight of a nation's hopes. The summit moderator finally broke the silence. "Captain Traoré, would you like to respond?" Traoré breathed deeply and stood. He spoke softly but with fierce determination. "I am not here to prove myself. I am here to represent my people, those who have suffered but still believe." He paused, then added words no one expected. "To President Trump and to all leaders here, our futures are tied not by power or dominance, but by our willingness to listen, to act, and to care." Suddenly, from the back, applause erupted. More joined. Soon, the entire hall was standing, clapping, not for politics, but for courage. Even some of Trump's closest allies joined in. Trump watched silently, expression unreadable. The world had witnessed a rare moment, a leader who moved hearts, not just headlines. The summit resumed, but something fundamental had shifted. Leaders who once talked over each other now listened. Questions turned to cooperation. Traoré's words echoed beyond the hall, in homes, streets, and villages. In Burkina Faso, radio stations replayed his speech. In New York, journalists wrote about a new kind of leadership. Traoré returned home late that night. Children sang songs of peace. Tears welled in his eyes. This quiet victory was for them, for every child waiting to live without fear. He promised silently, "I will never let you down." Far from the grand halls, a little girl named Awa lay awake in her village. Her mind raced. She had heard the summit on a crackling radio. Her father was a farmer, worn by violence. Her mother worked tirelessly to feed the family. But hearing Captain Traoré's words made Awa believe her dreams mattered, that one day she could go to school and play without fear. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer. "Please let Captain Traoré bring peace." Thousands of miles away, Traoré's heart ached for children like Awa. He fought not for power, but for the silent hopes of millions. The summit had ended, but the story was only beginning. Traoré's words sparked conversations in halls of power and in humble homes. People cried, hoping for a better future. Leaders reached out, ready to listen, ready to change. Traoré returned to Burkina Faso, not as a distant figure, but as a son of the people, humble, strong, and full of unwavering love. In a moment captured by cameras, he knelt beside a sick child in a hospital. He held the boy's hand, offering tenderness and hope. The world watched with tears, because leadership had been redefined, not by loud challenges or fierce debates, but by empathy, by courage, by the heart to carry a nation's dreams. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe to hear more inspiring stories. Drop a comment, tell us which part touched your heart, or share your own story of hope and courage. Your voice matters. Together we can spread a wave of kindness and strength.